So let us begin the Gita proper. We have been dwelling with the introduction for quite some classes. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishthaya ramakrishnaya te namaha jananim sharadam devim ramakrishnam jagadgurum पादपद्मे तयो श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहाय वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So it begins with the first chapter, which is called, each chapter is given a name as a yoga, because ultimately, it's a scripture of a very special kind. It completely deals with yoga in various ways. So हर chapter का ऐसे ही नाम दिया. The first chapter is called Vishad Yoga. Arjuna Vishad Yogo Nama Prathama. Arjuna's grief, the grief of Arjuna. So the this chapter really shows Arjuna's grief, no doubt, under what conditions a person opens himself to a view of the spirit or to spirituality or something superior. Normally, what we do whenever we are in difficulty, we run here, there, consult X, Y, Z, try to work out ourselves. Then we try to somehow get out. But sometimes, uh, nothing works. कुछ भी काम नहीं कर रहा है. So if you have a tendency towards anything superior, a spirit, truly a spiritual inclination, then you are safe. Because आप इसकी वजह से प्रार्थना कर सकते हैं, अच्छे से विचार कर सकते हैं, यू कैन समझने के लिए कोशिश कर सकते हैं, यू कैन डू एवरीथिंग इज पॉसिबल इफ यू हैव. दैट्स व्हाई दैट्स अ ग्रेट एडवांटेज. व्हाई शुड पीपल टर्न टू स्पिरिचुअलिटी एट ऑल? एक आध्यात्मिक दिशा में जीवन ले जाने के लिए क्या जरूरत है? ऑर्डिनरी पीपल, दोज हु डोंट बिलीव इन ऑल दैट, खाना पना मस्ती इसमें जो रहते हैं, बिकॉज ह्यूमन लाइफ प्रॉब्लम्स आर अनअवॉइडेबल. जहाँ भी है, हम लोग तो आश्रम चला रहे हैं, हर रोज 1000 प्रॉब्लम आते हैं, आपसे भी 1000 गुना अधिक आते हैं हम लोग. Because we are only concerned with one family, maybe 2, 3, or 4 people or 6 people. We are concerned with thousands of people. So naturally, the problem is much more. But if you have a spiritual bent of mind, you know that, yes, to the extent possible, I tried my utmost. Now it's not possible for me beyond this. Then, you adopt a particular attitude. If you're a believer in God or anything, you try to surrender, you try to pray, you try to invoke divine blessings, vagera. That's one way of looking at it. Or if you are given to vichara, viveka, etc., then you try to truly discriminate what it is, what is the depth of all this, whether all these things meaningful at all. Should we waste so much of time? Should we really lose sleep over all that? So ultimately, all problems can be solved in an ultimate sense only through a spiritual attitude. Because you see, supposing you're suffering some economic issues, money related issues. Alright, you try hard, money might come, but again it might go. It goes also. Health related issues, you do this, that, get healthy, again you become unhealthy. So whatever you do at the existential level, इस धरती पे रह के आप इतने भी प्रयास करें, you can find some temporary solutions. Job is not there, you get job is something, some better this thing, which might also come. But all this can go also. Somewhere or other you will feel disappointment. यहाँ मिला तो वहाँ नहीं मिला. Then this has happened, that goes away. See, always, it's like Swamiji somewhere says the romanticism. You drive it away from one place, it goes and appears somewhere. From knees to the hands and this and that, somewhere it keeps going. It doesn't go away completely once it catches you. Similarly, the lives, disappointments, sufferings, miseries, dukkha, failures, all this, even success, they are all of a temporary nature. कुछ दिन के लिए अच्छा है. Then something will come. Again it will repeat. Again as a cycle. Then finally, we always have the problem of death, old age and so on, which are all irreversible. Irreversible problems. एक बार आ गए तो खत्म. Old age cannot be reversed. Whatever you may use, again the old age will be like that. So unless, that is why the Indian tradition or the Hindu tradition is always like that. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Four Purusharthas. You can, yes, when you are young, you earn, you this and that. But slowly you migrate and go to such a stage. Ultimately, the ultimate Purushartha, Moksha or Mukti. For that, everybody should strive or attempt and so on. So in the path, obviously you get a lot of difficulties, lot of other things happening in one's life. So through such efforts, and only one can ultimately overcome all that. See, overcoming means, no problem is overcome permanently like that. You understand them. Once there is a true understanding, and the problem no longer remains a problem. That's it. See, what is the difference between a person who has a spiritual bent of mind and a very worldly person who is busy only with the worldly things of earning money, having fun, having enjoyment, so on? What happens? We think that at the worldly level, all this can be solved and should be solved. Supposing I have less of money, I must get more money. No one can stop it. I keep on trying, any amount. Similarly, with regard to all the existential issues. And finally, it never happens. See, the more you earn, you want more money. No one is satisfied with what they have. Even if we give 10 lakhs, they feel 15 lakhs is what we need. So it goes on endlessly. Same with regard to other conveniences, our health, our relationship, everything. But when you develop a true spiritual bent of mind, what happens? Yes, I must make a sincere effort. I will do, but I will not lose sleep if I don't get it, if I don't make it, if I don't have so much money, if I don't have so much convenience. Because, see, just first of all, it's a very common knowledge. Millions, billions of people are living much in a much better way, more happily, more peacefully, with much less. How is it possible? See, if this much is certainly necessary, how people are living with much less in terms of money, in terms of convenience, in terms of other facilities, yet they are more happy, more settled. So they are in a very uh, convenient state of life. That is one thing. And then the knowledge that whatever you acquire, whatever you make, it's not going to stay. One day that is going to do. Supposing, even if you make 100 crores, but when you die, you're not going to take even a single paisa. You're going to leave everything behind. So, what happens when you develop a true spiritual attitude? These things clearly strike you. Then, does it mean you don't make any attempt? You simply sit quiet? No. You'll make every attempt. But you'll also know at the back of your mind, ये सब चीज हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता है, फिर भी ठीक है. The world will not crash if I don't get such and such. No, it will go on. Not everybody gets everything. Not everybody enjoys everything. But still the world goes on. So then what you know where to concentrate, where to pay attention, where should I really be involved, what are the things I should concentrate on, really look to. then you get a clear perspective of life, then you start living more meaningfully. That is why scriptures like Gita, etc., are extremely useful. Mahatma Gandhi somewhere says, whenever I lose all hopes, nowhere to turn to, if I read Gita, I feel so much uh, calmed and assuaged and so on. I'm not using his exact language, but something like that. He speaks very highly about this Bhagavad Gita. So, in this opening chapter also, was it only the Arjuna who had Vishada or grief? Everybody. Dhritarashtra had. He was very worried because in one the actually there are several ideas as to where this Gita was introduced. Some say it's a completely independent text. Some say it was उसकी रचना करके बाद में जोड़ा गया. It was composed independently, but then it was added to Bhagavad Gita. Then there is a one strong view that is part of Mahabharata only after Bhishma Parva. After the fall of Bhishma, when he was virtually, he didn't die actually, he was incapacitated and he was lying on a bed of arrows. From that time, at that time only this Gita happened. That's one view. So, obviously, at that time, Dhritarashtra was terribly worried because the leader, the person who was leading the Kaurava army, he was completely, thrown out of the battle, so to say. He was on a bed of arrows, waiting for his death. So, what will happen? So, he had terrible grief. And Duryodhana, the very reason he started this war was, "Arey, why these people are claiming back their property?" So, unka bhi vishad tha. But their grief, etc., was of a different nature. Duryodhana's grief was a purely of a different worldly nature. I am fighting for this, so my general is there, not there. What will happen? Maybe that anxiety and that grief that I have lost my leader might have been. But in the case of Arjuna, it was clearly a vishada, a true sorrow that led to a spiritual awakening in him. Arjuna was a great warrior. He had defeated all these people single-handedly on several occasions. The latest was the Virat Parva. But why was he shying away from the fight? Because he saw that what is the use of killing all these people? Why should I get involved in this terrible bloody war? Actually, any normally when you look at it, you tend to agree with Arjuna only. What is the need of fighting and all? It's better to be a mendicant, live on alms, and चुपचाप रहो. ये सब लड़ना पड़ना, खून बहाना क्या जरूरत है? That's the. But that's why quite often it's so important in life when to do what, why, what is the compulsion, why we should do like that. See, so the idea of swadharma and the duty, how it leads to a great spiritual uh, solution to life, very beautifully brought out in Bhagavad Gita. That's why it is so famous. See, what started as an ethical moral issue, Arjuna didn't want to fight because of ethical moral grounds. But what Sri Krishna gave him finally through this Nishkam Karma was a wonderful doctrine, a solution to the existential problem of life. So, in our life also, quite often we face negative situations. अभी करना ही नहीं. Quite often you have to take hard decisions, whether this can be done or not. But unless you really understand life in all its dimensions, the spiritual necessity of life, deciding everything from a spiritual point of view, how we have a larger context in which you have to place yourself and think, it's very difficult. That's why it took so much time for Arjuna to realize. Because Sri Krishna said that don't think that you are fighting for yourself. No, it's not just because you want to enjoy the kingdom, You want to really enjoy those riches, etc. There is a greater duty cast upon you. You are fighting a righteous war, Dharma Kshetra. That's why it starts the sloka Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsava Mamaka Pandavascheva Kima Kurvata Sanjay. You are fighting a war of righteousness. Why? If Duryodhana were to be declared the winner, then adharma would have been established on earth. Here is a person, because by right, actually, because Dhritarashtra was blind, the Pandu alone had right to kingdom, and Pandu was made the king also. Then after the death of Pandu, Dhritarashtra was Yudhishthira was anointed by Dhritarashtra himself. But at some time there was some difference of opinion. Then Yudhishthira very willingly said, yes, half of it you take, because you are also from the same royal lineage. So he gave half of the kingdom to Duryodhana and others. So only the rest they were having. That also by trick, they to some jua khelame, in that gambling, simply it was taken. And even that had to be returned to them after 12 years of vanvas and 1 year in exile. That also he said no. And there are, finally Yudhishthira said, give me just 5 villages, 5 houses, कुछ भी नहीं है, एक सुई रखने की जगह भी नहीं दूंगा. I won't give you even a small, even as to plant a needle. So then there is no other option. So in such a war, it's obvious that dharma should win. What is moral, what is ethical, that should win. So Sri Krishna said that you have a greater responsibility of establishing dharma on earth. For which purpose you must fight. You cannot say, I will not fight. It's not your individual choice or decision. So it took a long time for Arjuna to understand. Why? Because ultimately, even for one, whatever may be the cause, he saw on the other side all his elders, acharyas, relatives, his own brothers, everyone was there on the other side. Winning the war means killing all of them. Because or putting all of them in, some of them in prison, but all have to be killed. Otherwise, the war will not be over. So that means the whole Kaurava clan will be wiped out. All his acharyas, Drona, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, all would go. So what is it? Then again, that's why Sri Krishna makes him understand in various ways. First of all, about the immortal nature of the self. What do you say? Who is going to be killed? Who is going to kill whom? What are you? So he made him understand the immortal nature of the self or the Atman, and then also the various other things in various yogas, how it is, how one can fight with that complete sense of detachment. He says, don't even assume that you are going to win or you are going to lose. Mai sarvani karmane sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. All works you offer unto me with a sense of spiritual attitude. Adhyatma chetasa. Nirashi nirmamo bhutva yujjasva vigatachvara. Without any neither do you be infatuated by the moha of the past, nor should you be overpowered by the asha or the future hope. Asha, nirashi means thinking, dreaming about the future. Nirmamo, about the past, whatever happened. Oh, I was a princess, I was it, I was having that. Nirashi nirmamo bhutva, you just pravigatachvara. Free from any fear, just fight. So, naturally, Arjuna's Vishada is given specially that name because that led to a great spiritual awakening in the case of Arjuna. So, his Vishada, his Dukkha is of a very special nature. So he was here also all the skills etc. He was given the duty of leading the Pandava army, and then he was in this condition only he is seeking Sri Krishna's advice as to how to proceed. So now we come to the first sloka. I think it's the only sloka that is attributed to Dhritarashtra in all the 700 slokas. Nowhere else Dhritarashtra's name appears that way. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsava Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. Oh Sanjaya, what did my people, Mamaka or Pandavas Chaiva, and the followers of the Pandavas do? Kima Kurvata Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre, in the holy land of Kurukshetra. They were assembled. They were eager to join the battle. Samaveta Yutsavaha. What did they do in this? So, Dhritarashtra wants a full account of the war. So, so possibly it clearly shows that at least it must have proceeded some distance. It is not that what are they going to do is not asking. What they have done so far, that might be. So that's one idea. And also, this is this Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra. They are calling it as the why? Because it's a battle for establishing righteousness. That's one idea. And also, there's another name for Sri Krishna itself is Dharma. Probably in some other, maybe some other sloka somewhere else, it also comes. Dharma, not only that, apart from he being directly called Dharma also, because Sri Krishna is present, he is the embodiment of Dharma. He is a person who represents the highest virtue, highest attitudes, highest everything, highest qualities. So where Dharma is present, the Kshetra, the land of Dharma is Dharma Kshetra. Wherever Sri Krishna is, obviously there is Dharma Kshetra. That may be one idea. And also as far as Kurukshetra is concerned, Kurukshetra means it's not really just a holy place where the Kurus, Kauravas, they are from the Kuru Parampara, Kuru family. So they are there. Actually, Pandavas are also from the same family only. Later on, from Pandu, they have taken the lineage as Pandavas. Originally, they are also from the Kuru clan only. So they were all from Kuru clan. Kurukshetra, in that Kshetra, all had assembled. And they were, because it is a Dharma Kshetra, it's a land where Dharma, the embodiment of Dharma was present, and also where people were, where the Pandavas were really fighting a righteous battle. And then, some say that it's not that Kima Kurvata, what did they say? What did they do? So this is not just a normal, because uh, it need not have been put like this, is it not? Kima Kurvata. So because what did they do special? Because it's not just it's not an update of any news or anything like that. Dhritarashtra was looking for something very special. What did happen? A special curiosity. What did they do specially there? Kima Kurvata San. So he's asking that. And also he is saying the myself, the people of my clan, and also those who are from the Pandavas, what did they do really in this Kurukshetra, this Dharma Kshetra, after assembling? So this Kim Akurvata, what did they do? They also some interpreters Vishesha. What did they do specially? That interpretation also some are talking about, because Dhritarashtra was extremely anxious for something. He was not just asking just the statistics of how many people assembled, how many died, where the armies were positioned on a particular day. No. Something very special he was looking for. Probably if you look at it, at this Bhagavad Gita was joined to Mahabharata, or it happened after the fall of Bhishma. Obviously, he was very, very excited with tremendous anxiety. Kimakurvata, what happened? What happened? Because a person like Bhishma has been defeated. So obviously he was very much worried. So why he chose, they say that Dhritarashtra was a person who did not have a vision. And Gandhari also deliberately, she tied her eyes so that her husband could not see, she also did not see. So it is also interpreted that because he was blind, and she was blind to everything that was good because she had blinded herself. Obviously, all her descendants are also like that. They are bereft of any virtue or goodness or quality. That's also an interpretation. Actually, Gandhari was like that. Finally, after the war, I think Bhima went to offer salutations to her, and Sri Krishna very carefully sent an image or something in place of Bhima. He did not allow him to go. She embraced him so tightly as to completely crush that image was totally crushed. She was so angry because Bhima killed her son. So that was Gandhari. So this is a very complex situation where two sides which are of a different nature, totally one side fighting just for true justice so that they could survive, where the others were willingly they had taken or usurped the kingdom of the Pandavas. So that's why obviously it's a Dharma Yuddha. Then why Sanjay was chosen? Because Dhritarashtra knew that Sanjay was absolutely neutral person. He would give a complete account of whatever had happened. And not only that, it is said that Sanjay was blessed with a divine vision so that he could sitting there in front of Dhritarashtra, see completely whatever is happening in the battlefield and report everything to him. Actually, these details are of not much significance as far as I feel. The real thing is, the central essence, message, because, afterwards also the Gita does not discuss who all died and who ultimately won the war and all. See, although it starts with the description, Dharmakshete, Kurukshete, Samaveta Yusa, what did they do? Assembling for war in front of each other. In reply to that, completely a philosophy of life is being given. Not a word is being spoken about the war itself in this Gita, although in Mahabharata there are full descriptions. So you can, it's always probably it is better to look at Gita as a completely independent scripture without worrying whether it's part of Mahabharata or when it was in, because then it brings all those difficulties. Because there is no description of the war, it does not seem to relate to what's happening on the battlefield. And though how can during a war someone can completely give this kind of dharmopadesha for 700 verses, explain everything. So obviously, the so-called history, particularly from the Western point of view. For them, history means place, date, what happened, when, persons. No, our Indian idea of history was very, very different. It was more philosophical, where it is possible, whereas we are not so much worried about the dates and places and all. So in that, history, if Gita is there means Gita is a great text through which we learn so much about life. It gives us a complete guidance as to how to live, how to proceed, how to work under various circumstances. Because this is scripture of the mankind. It's meant for you, me, for everybody. Because all of us face such kind of dharma sankat is coming in every one of us life. Whether we should do this or not do this. Somebody is there, we should see everything, even it can happen. Somebody is put on ventilator in a hospital. Now, how many days to keep? You can keep for years, and then all you can sell, all your assets, you can all go to streets, you can become total pauper. Still, they will keep, hospital will keep on forever. Because every day they are getting 20,000, 30,000 if a person is on a ventilator. But it's a really very difficult decision, dharma sankat. मैं इसकी उठा लो, shall I ask them to stop? Then immediately that person will die. Will I be responsible? हमने people telephone, महाराज क्या करूं? ऐसे ही बोल रहे हैं डॉक्टर. Then so you have to take into account the age, this, that, what's possible, whether it's whether any purpose. Supposing a person is 90 years or beyond that, you need not keep such a person infinitely on ventilator because he is not going to do anything. Just be there. He has no sensation, just like a vegetable only. If there is no hope at all of that person coming back, after 2 3 days, one can very well say, yes, let us offer prayers. Let him take leave and come back with a better body if he has to come back on this earth. It's a very important thing. Can anyone decide like that? So many. So in families, a very middle class or less than middle class family, supposing one person suddenly, a little maybe in the 50s develops cancer. Now to treat him means the whole family has to become totally go to the streets. That kind of thing. Sometimes they take a decision. Okay, let us give some homeopathy. Let him slowly die. Doesn't matter because we can't afford. So, like that, I only gave some medical examples. Like that, there are so many things whether we should keep or not. So, how long, how often whether we should continue this life or not, whether we should live together or not, whether do this job or not, how I should have this relationship with X, Y, Z. So many innumerable issues keep coming before us every day. So, in all these, what is the right attitude? Does Gita, does it give us a clue as to how we can live, how we can build on that? So if you understand, study very carefully, why he is advising, how, what are the arguments placed by Sri Krishna, how Arjuna is trying to understand. So put ourselves in his shoes and try to understand very diligently and carefully. Definitely we'll be able to come up with an answer as to how to function under different circumstances. So I always say that it's the best book probably on management. It gives you wonderful insights as to how to manage several. See, you cannot think of a more difficult situation, right in front of you is an army, huge army. They are more in number. Kauravas are far more in number. And you are having a smaller army. But you have a wonderful charioteer, wonderful person who is leading you, who is guiding you at every step, whom you know is extremely powerful, who is equal to millions of foot soldiers. He is with you. And also on one side, there are such respectable people, whether one should kill them or not kill them. And then what are you going to get? Will the uh, will the future people, will posterity tell you he fought because he was greedy? He wanted to win and enjoy the kingdom. That's why he killed all his acharyas and elders and others. Will you be blamed like that? So, like that, in our life also, there are so many situations that come. So, they took a very, very critical, complicated situation because it is not like that. We can, all right, aapne 10 din baad sochunga. You can't say like that. Sometimes, in the problem we face, maybe it's a we need not decide today. 10 days later, we can do. We can take time. We can put it all right. Let it be there. After 10 days, we can decide. After 1 week, we can do. But it's right now. You have to do it right now. Whether you are going to fight or not, this is a decision right now you have to take. There's no time to postpone. So it's critical not only in terms of the matter itself, in terms of time, in terms of other things, all put together. So you've been given a very completely complex situation to decide. And also, they also say this Mahabharata itself can be interpreted this Gita itself in a very symbolic way. You need not think that there are soldiers on both sides and all that. They represent certain negative qualities or ausiri sampath all within oneself. That kind of interpretation also has been given to Gita. All these are all these Arjunas and Duryodhanas and all others. They are all inside you. They are not outside. So you find out when the Asiri Sampath tries to raise his head, when the negative ideas, negative values, negative attractions, when they try to raise their head, when they try to overpower you, how you should react, how you should protect yourself, what kind of a dharma you can follow. That also can be because this dharma kshetra and kurukshetra can be your own personality, your own inner being, where there's a constant struggle. You see, external things, doing certain things this way, that way, one can decide. Internally, when the fight happens, it's much more difficult. They are so settled. No one else knows. I only know. If I do this also, I will only know. If I don't do this also, I will only know. In those situations, it's even more difficult to decide. Supposing I tell this lie, it will be convenient. I'll quickly get it. If I don't tell this lie, I will have to struggle. Should I tell lie or not? Quite often we try to bring some other factors. Oh, for this sake we can do. Somehow we try to compromise. But these are all here. So the Dharma Kshetra Kshetra is inside each one of us. So how do we decide about very critical ethical moral values relating to our individual life? Whether should I go with the masses? Whether should I also join the party? Whether should I compromise? If I do this, if I don't this, these are the problems. I have tremendous problem. I lose my peace of mind. I have to fight every day. My survival becomes difficult. My promotion is held up. I'll be transferred to useless place. One IAS officer on Kemkar, somebody, I think he got some 80 or 90 transfers in 4 5 years time because they say he was very very honest and truthful. So all those things can happen. But supposing you decide in favor of your own stand, what is the strength? Strength is Bhagavad Gita. Read it again and again. So so that yes, I took this decision because I was guided by Gita. I decided I would do this way. Why? I am ready to suffer. I am ready to participate in all that. Why? Ultimately, I know Dharma will win. That's why Dharma comes from the Sanskrit dhatu dhr, dharan karna, to hold. They say that Dharma is something where brings all this together and cements them. That's one idea. And also Dharma is that which is the core. A being at its core is Dharma. That's one idea. Dharma is that which really upholds you, helps you lead a life of balance. You know, Dharma, that's why there are all these interpretations. But Dharma is just as the Dharma of fire is to burn, the Dharma of water is to wet. That means the core idea, the core competence, is being at its core, that is Dharma. And also, you can say Dharma is that we often say that which guides you, your inner conscience, that which really makes you take a particular path, that which ensures that you don't swerve from the path of righteousness. You lead a life of ethics, morality, everything. That which guides you constantly, your innermost guide, that is Dharma. So dharma kshetra means to that also, what is to be done, what's not to be done. So that is how it started. So in that condition, then Sanjay, because he was so neutral, then Sanjay's help was sought by Dhritarashtra. You please tell me what happened. That's why I said, what specially happened, not just happened like that. It's not, it just doesn't want a very normal routine report of the war, but something very special. Because he really knew that something very special happened. When Bhishma fell, or when that happened, which way the war was taking shape, which way it was going. So he was looking for something very special there. And then what is the first loka Sanjay says? Dishmat Pandavanikam Vyudam Duryodhanasthata Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abradit. So, he saw Duryodhana. He came and first he saw how the Pandavas' armies arrayed. And then he went to approach the teacher, Acharya Upasangamya. Going near the Acharya, Vachanam Abravit, spoke to him the following words. So, there also, if you see how an unrighteous person, a wicked person, how he acts, how he behaves, etc. First of all, before even looking at his own complete army, obviously he wanted to know the strength of the opposition. He saw the Pandavas army. And then he went to his Acharya, Dronacharya. And he went and told him. Actually, Dronacharya being the Acharya of everybody, he should have been perhaps made the in charge of the Duryodhana army. But I think Duryodhana was even not very sure of his own loyalty. See, when you are wicked, you start doubting everything. He thought that no, his own Arjuna is favorite disciple. There are many others on the other side. Whether he would really do justice. So he said he put Bhishma above Erubihas. The Bhishma was, of course, he was also a very great warrior, but in the normal circumstances, Dronacharya should have been the leader. But he put Bhishma, and he did not go to Bhishma, he went to Dronacharya to make sure, find out what is his attitude, whether he's really going to fight with full vigor, etc. Acharya Upasamya Raja Vachanam Abhrami. He spoke. See, he did not normally, those days, the tradition itself was like that. You go to your Guru or Acharya, you bow down, seek his permission before beginning the war. Then you say, yes, let me inspect the other side and come back and give you the thing. But he's behaving typically like a king. Ah, मैं देख के आया, chalo, that kind of thing towards his own acharya. That is how he is beginning. Starting doesn't seem to be a good beginning at all. But anyway, so that is why the Duryodhana. So see, it was not necessary for Duryodhana to really point out to Dronacharya, oh, it is there. He knows he's also there in the battlefield and he's at the forefront. He really knows what has happened. But he really wants to kind of, you know, kindle him, making him, really work up so that, he would get excited and he would do his best, etc., etc. So obviously, there is always an inner fear in Duryodhana. After all, no, I may not win the war. See, actually, when we do something wrong, when we are not on the side of justice, it's always such people have an inner fear. Something is going to go wrong because somewhere or other things will not. That's why people who do unethical things, immoral things, etc., they're always afraid, always afraid. They need more arms, they need more protection, they need those everything. They simply go like that. Gandhiji just walked. Just so many people warned him also, but he was not. There was some indication that something might happen. You were always constantly warning him, asking him to have protection. He said nothing doing. I just go with my daily routine. I'll follow. I'll take Rama's name. Hey Ram. Okay. So he simply gave up his life because that his body is going to go today or tomorrow. So what? So, but here is a person who is very uh, uh, afraid, and he went and he is going there, and he is telling him. Then he says, seeing the array of the army arrayed, Kuryodhana approached the teacher. What did he say? Pashyitam Pandaputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupada Tava Sishyena Dhimata. Your disciple is there, he's warning him. O teacher, behold this great army of the sons of Pandu. Panduputranam Mahatim Chamum, great army. Acharya, you see that. Pashyitam Vyudam Drupada Putrena Tava Sishyena Dhimata. They are all arrayed in the battle by your talented disciple, the son of Drupada. So, Drupada's son, they are all, many of them were all taught by Dronacharya himself. So that was Duryodhana's main fear. All his disciples are on the other side. What this man would do. So in the beginning itself, he's going and tell him, see, your disciple, he is at the forefront. He is doing all this, vyuhas, etc. You better be alert. So, like a fool, he is going and telling him, see, if Dronacharya wants, he can always, just like that. He is there only because of some compulsion. Not that he wanted this war. Bhishma, Drona, all of them advised him, don't do this. This is not good for you. Because what you are doing is not dharma. But he did not listen. But because they had taken his food, Anna, so they know that they were courting death. Not that they did not. They were all very great, very spiritually illumined people. They also know that the body is going to go at some time or other. Let us succumb to the Lord's will and let us be part of it because we cannot, although what he is doing is not right, we cannot say that we will not fight because we have taken his hospitality. We are all maintained by him. We are in his kingdom. So they agreed to fight for him. So we'll take it up next week slowly. We'll proceed. Now we have started the chapter proper. Huh? Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ram Krishna.